What's going on, guys? Welcome back. This is Blake, and in this video I want to talk to you about something that happened to me last week that I think needs to be talked on, that a lot of people are dealing with, especially in the Facebook organic space using a Facebook account. And I want to walk you through what happened to me, what I did beyond that moment of it happening to me itself, and how I ended up getting my Facebook account back after being locked out within just about 25 hours. So stay tuned as I dive into that going forward. So as we dive into this video, number one, I want this to be something that you can come to if this ever happens to you to help you hopefully get your account back. But more than anything, I also want to talk about some points today that can help you avoid this happening to you in the future so you don't have to deal with this headache if it occurs itself. So as I get started here and dive in, as I record this video right now, my account is officially active and back. If we rewind back a few days ago, just into late last week, my account was completely inactive. It was locked out with no chance to do anything, which I'm going to walk you through and share my screen here shortly to talk more about that. But leading up to that moment of the lockout, in all reality, I really wasn't doing anything wrong. I went in to go live inside my Facebook group. I had an interview planned inside my Facebook group, jumped on, I went live. We got 10 minutes into the interview and out of nowhere, my live got cut off. And the viewers could no longer watch. And we didn't realize it until about 15, 20 minutes in. So then myself and the person I was interviewing in that interview itself, we stopped, we paused, and we said, okay, let's restart. So we restarted the interview. We jumped back into the group, started fresh. Everybody was hopping on and watching again. And then this time, 20 minutes in, I got cut off for a second time. So at that point, we figured, you know what, if it's going to keep cutting us off, screw it. We're going to just record this interview and then publish it in the group afterwards, which is what we ended up doing. But about 10 minutes after that second take, after we completed the entire interview, I jumped off the live, or the recording I should say, hopped into my Facebook, and I went to go reply to simply 3 messages. And as soon as I hit send on the third one, I saw this pop-up come up on my screen. And it said, your account is now locked. Now my first reaction when I saw this message pop up was worry. Like immediately my heart sunk. I'm like, oh, my account's gone. I use that for business. I've built over a 6-figure business just on Facebook organic alone. And now it's taken away from me. And it's gone. It's completely locked up. So first reaction when I see that message pop up, it's easy to freak out and think of the worst. But then I pause for a second. I remind myself, you know what? Okay, this happened. But before I jump to conclusions, number one, let's think about what else I have outside of this that's going to cause me to worry less about this. So rather than dwelling just on the fact that my Facebook account is locked up, number one, I have my YouTube channel here that I'm growing for you guys. So that's one huge major perk that I can put more focus on that in the meantime if my account were to get locked out. Number two, I thought to myself, okay, I have one free Facebook group with over 1,000 members. I have my coaching Facebook group, and I have a bunch of other smaller masterclass groups from different masterclasses that I've launched throughout my time online. And my other thought was, okay, now did I lose access to these too? But I remembered I actually took some time to add different admins on these groups before, just in case this ever happened. So lesson number one is if you guys have a Facebook account now and you're using your Facebook profile for your business and you have different groups set up or one group set up that you're using for your business, that you're growing and building an audience there, make sure, number one, that you add extra admins on that group. Because the moment your account gets locked out, if you're the only admin on that group itself, you will not have any access. You won't be able to add somebody else as an admin. You'll be locked out. And your only hope is to hopefully get access back to that group again or back to your profile again so you can get access to that group. So first lesson is if you have a Facebook group of any kind, make sure that you have a trusted friend that you can add as an admin. So if worst comes to worst, your account gets locked out, you have someone else that's connected to it and can still operate it. So if you end up making a new account or if you do come back, they can always add you on that new account and get you back in as admin and things will resume. All right, so point number two I want to make here is the fact that you should not be reliant on one single traffic source itself or one single platform to grow your audience. And this can be a tricky one because I'm a firm believer in the fact, especially if you're in the beginning stages, that you should be narrowing your focus to going all in on one platform. And I believe that's true because if you spread yourself thin and you try to do YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and all these different channels from the start, you're going to become overwhelmed and you're not going to gain any traction with one single channel. But as soon as you start to gain traction with one channel and you're able to and you have some more time on your hands to start exploring other channels, it's a good idea to start building that separate audience there. And have that as a different platform. So if worst comes to worst, you get locked out of your Facebook account for good, it's not the only thing that you have. That's why, number one, even staying on Facebook with a Facebook group is a very smart choice to build, because when you're building your Facebook group, if you're doing it correctly, you're collecting email addresses of all these people, you're building your list, and ultimately that's a separate asset from your profile. So like I said, if your profile comes down, everything isn't gone. You at least have the audience that you've built in that group and then any other platform that you're building along the way. So lesson number 2 is make sure that you, at the very least, are starting to diversify your audience and you have a Facebook group set up or some other platform that you're building your audience on. So if worst comes to worst, Facebook takes your profile away from you, you're not stuck there with nothing, having to start from absolute scratch again. So now that we got that aside and I've talked about 2 things that you should keep in mind if you're using your Facebook profile for your business, now I want to walk in and share my screen and show you guys the steps that I took after my account was locked and how that led me to getting my account back within 24 hours. Now note, before I dive into this, just because this worked for me doesn't mean it will work for everyone, but I think there's a few things within here that you can utilize and learn and potentially use on your own if this ever does occur to you. So with that said, let's dive in and I'm going to share my screen now. So as we dive in here, the first thing I want to talk about is the message that I got following my account being locked. So after that pop-up came up and it said your account has been locked, there was an option for me to file an appeal. And it showed there was a button for me to click and it said you have 30 days to file an appeal, otherwise your account will be deleted. So the first thing I did was follow that step right away. But I've known, based on hearing other people talk about this in the past, that usually you're able to submit some form of identification, your driver's license, passport, some sort of statement or bill that you can use to verify that you are that person behind the account. In this particular instance, it didn't let me do that. It said, all you can do is submit your name. I want you to submit a picture of you and your email associated to your account. So that's exactly what I did. I submitted those first 3 things as it asked, and the next screen that I saw was this. We received your information. Thank you for sending your information. We have a few people available to review information due to the coronavirus. This means that we may be unable to review your account. We apologize for any inconvenience. So once I saw this message, then it felt like, man, I'm really not going to get this back. Like, I know the horror stories behind Facebook support, and to me, the whole system behind it is broken. I get that they're a very, very big company, and they don't want to deal with this stuff, which is why they try to automate it and send it to as many bots as they can possible with automatic prompts to say, if you're dealing with this, reply with this or do this. But at the end of the day, there's no one to talk to when you get into instances like this. And it can be very, very frustrating, especially if you're using your profile for your business itself. So I knew at this point, number one, I was reminding myself what I just talked about the positives at the end of the day, that it wasn't worth me really sweating over it and worrying too much. But I also knew that I wanted to get this back. I've been putting out content on my profile for over a year straight, almost every single day, and I don't want to lose that. I want to get my account back, I want to get my friends list back, and I want to be able to use my profile as normal because I feel that I didn't do anything wrong to lose that right, outside of the fact that you're not supposed to use it for business itself. But with that said, I still felt that I had the right to get my account back, and I knew that there had to be some way for me to get in contact with Facebook to put myself in a position to make that happen. So I saw this message, and from there, I probably spent 3 hours researching different options for me to gain contact with Facebook and get my account back. And if any of you know, if you've ever looked into this before, if you go to Reddit or if you go to Google, anywhere, Quora, whatever it may be, and you look up how to get a locked Facebook profile back, it's all horror stories. It's all people saying that their account was locked and they tried to reach out to Facebook support and they submitted their appeal and they never heard back from them and their account got deleted. Or the fact that Facebook has zero way for anybody to get in contact with them. You can't speak to a human via chat. You can't speak to them over the phone. And it's very frustrating. And after researching different ways to get in contact with Facebook, I was realizing the same thing. I knew this based on some experience in the past with the locked ad account, but I also realized for the first time with this happening to me that it was even worse on the profile side of things, because there's not even a support chat that you can go to speak to someone to let them know that you didn't do anything wrong and that you want to appeal to get your account back. So let's talk about this a little bit further and the steps behind it. So if we look at the profile terms of service, I'm not going to go super in depth on this. If you want to look these up, you can. But obviously it says it's against Facebook terms to use your profile to represent something other than yourself, example, your business. And you could permanently lose access to your account if you don't convert it to a page. So for those of you using your Facebook profile for your business, I do not want this to be something to scare you away and make you stop using it, because it's a very, very powerful tool to use for your business itself. And there's no reason that you should shy away just because of this. But remember, this is just one channel that you're using. Obviously, like I talked about earlier, it's best if you can be building up a group along with that and some other channels so you're not fully relying on this. So if worse comes to worse, if you can't get it back following what I'm showing you today, that you have that backup plan. But other things that you can't do that can cause red flags to Facebook: using too much automation, adding too many friends at once, sending out too many messages at once. All these things throw up red flags to Facebook, and it shows them that there's irregular activity on your account, and that's causing them to maybe look into your account further, or for their algorithm to pick it up and say, okay, this person is doing irregular things in their profile that they shouldn't be doing, and we should lock them out. So with that said, if any of you have done this before, you might see a pop-up message first that says, maybe when you're adding friends, are you sure you know this person? If that's the case, if you ever see that pop up when you're adding friends on Facebook, pause, wait at least 24 hours to begin resuming adding friends, because you're starting to get some resistance from Facebook and they're picking up that you're adding too many friends. And the more you push that limit, the more you lead the chance to pushing it over the edge and getting to the point where your account is locked out. So if you see that pop up where it says, are you sure that you know this person? Pull back, give it some time to rest. If you see a pop-up that says you're unable to send messages or you're unable to add friends, sometimes they can block different actions on your account, such as adding friends or sending messages. If you see that, stop doing that activity for a period of time. Don't push it. If your account gets locked, or if out of the blue, like in my instance, where you were just going live or you weren't really doing anything irregular and your account gets locked, number one, follow the step on the screen where it says file your appeal and submit this form. After you do that, here's some next steps that you can complete to start putting yourself in a position to getting more exposure to Facebook and actually getting them to see your message, so you can then get the opportunity to get your account back. So the first thing I did after looking up article after article after article, I ended up finding, let's see if I can find it here. I had it pulled up. This form. So it's facebook.com/help/contact and a long number there, 3574-393-542-83890. Let me go back to this. I went to this form and I put a detailed response on what happened to me. I basically said the same thing I told you guys. I was going live on Facebook. My live got cut off. After that, I was replying to a few messages, and out of nowhere, my account was locked. So it doesn't say here attach a photo ID or attach some sort of proof of verification, but I did that anyway. I took a picture of my ID because it is me. I'm not lying and trying to be somebody else. And I took a picture with my ID next to my face, and I submitted it on this form with that description of the issue. So that was the second touch point that I got to Facebook. After submitting that first requirement of my image and my name and my email, now I went and submitted this description along with the file of my ID attached to it. If you go out there and Google, you'll find some other forms out there, such as there's forms just for appealing your Facebook personal profile if it was hacked or if it was locked out. But what I noticed after submitting my first form, every other form that I tried to submit, it wouldn't let me do it. It came up as an error every time. So no other singular form worked besides this one. This was the only one I found that allowed me to actually send a second note to Facebook and include my ID to expedite the process. So this would be one of the first forms I would look into Submitting if you're dealing with this issue now. And I can link this below the video for those looking for this form itself. So next, I asked myself, okay, I can't get into any support with Facebook. I can't go to a support chat. I can't contact that via email itself. What other way can I contact Facebook indirectly? What other companies associated with Facebook that would be able to expedite this claim? And I thought to myself, after taking some time to brainstorm it, there's one company that came to mind that's solely tied to Facebook, and the only way that you can use their products is if you have a Facebook account, and that is Oculus. So the Oculus Rift, the Oculus VR headsets, these are all through Facebook itself. It's called Oculus by Facebook. And I went and I looked at their website, and I was checking things out there, and I saw the support button at the top. So I went and clicked on support, and I was seeing more for options to support here than I was anywhere else on Facebook. So I went and I looked around a little bit further, and I saw contact us. So if I look in the drop downs here, you see I received a warning or suspension on my account. If you received a notification that your account has received a warning or suspension, or report against your account was reviewed and deemed in violation of community standards or their VR policy. Violating community standards may result in actions taken against your account, including but not limited to suspension or termination of your account. Please reach out to Oculus Support if you wish to appeal. So this line was interesting to me. At first I thought there's no way that I can appeal through Oculus because they're not directly tied to Facebook's community standards sector of their business itself, so that wouldn't really get through to them. But I saw this message and I got intrigued, and I thought, you know what do I have to lose? If I can get one more message out to Facebook and get so my name is actually seen, so I can get a response, I'm putting myself in a position to get that account back. So I clicked here, and it says the Oculus support team is available to assist you with any questions that you have. Our team will contact you as quickly as possible, generally within 1 to 2 business days. Now this is insanely fast for Facebook support. You will not see any other support submission form or anything out there where you're getting a response from them within 1 to 2 days. It's usually way, way longer. So I love the fact that I saw that, and I saw that you have the option to submit a support ticket. So I went to this support ticket request, and let's see what dropdown I selected here. I selected I need help with an Oculus account. I put in my email, I put in my name, I put in the subject that said Facebook account disabled. That was my subject here for those of you looking to do this. And in the details, without being exact on the scripting that I said here, I basically came into the details and I said, hello, I'm sending this message to note that my account was just recently locked. I had just purchased an Oculus Rift headset, and being that the only way that you can log into your Oculus Rift account is through Facebook, I now no longer can use this item that I just purchased. I would appreciate if you could help me get to the bottom of this issue, as on my account, I was doing nothing wrong against community standards, and I hope to get my account back. So number one, I can use my account, but number two, I can use this Oculus Rift that I just paid $400 for, that I'm unable to utilize because I cannot log into my account. Looking forward to hearing back from you, and I appreciate your response. So I put that in the notes here, and I put, I need help with accessing my Facebook account to use Oculus. Put in the Oculus Rift, item name, device, headset. For the Oculus username, I just put my email, my Facebook account. For my Facebook account email, I put in my email again that my account was tied under, that my account was locked. And then it asks you what other support threads did you use before contacting this. And I took a screenshot of what my account looked like, where it said, right here, we received your information. Thank you for sharing that with us. And I sent that over. After submitting that ticket, I heard back from them literally within 2 hours. And they said, thank you so much for sending over your notes. We look forward to helping you get to the bottom of this and getting you access back to your Oculus Rift headset so you can utilize it. Can you please send over the serial number of the item that you are trying to utilize that's through us, through Oculus itself? Now, funny thing is, I didn't actually have an Oculus Rift headset, but I knew that if I could contact them and show them that, hey, I just bought this, I'm trying to utilize this new device that I'm paying you Facebook money for to utilize. It's new. It's going to be around for a while, obviously with VR trending. And I can't use this unless I have a Facebook account because you guys have made it so that's the only way that you can log into this. And I'd rather not just waste $400. So I figured if I showed them that message that they would be open to possibly helping me secure this account, getting me access to it so I can use this new headset that I bought. After they replied back within 2 hours, they asked me for a few things. They asked me for any screenshots of anything that I saw on my profile after my account was locked. They asked me for my account email again. They asked me for my name. And they said, can you please send over the serial number of the item that you purchased, whatever the Oculus device was. Now at the time, I did not have an Oculus device. Again, I didn't have anything. But I had a feeling that this was actually going to work because I liked how responsive they were, and it was a quicker response than I'd ever received from Facebook, being that I hadn't heard from Facebook yet. So what did I do? I went to my local Walmart, and I bought a $400 Oculus Rift headset just so I could get the serial number on it and submit this claim to them. After I submitted that, I got back, went to my email, grabbed the serial number. I didn't open the box. I didn't use the headset. I didn't do anything with it besides get the serial number. I sent it to them. They took in that claim, and after I made that submission, it gave me the option to pull up a live support chat, which for some reason is showing up here now, which it didn't show before. And you can put in your name, your email, your preferred language, and your message. And after I submitted that serial number, I came in and I chatted to them and I said, hey, just wanted to follow up on this to make sure that you got my notes. I just passed over my serial number. Can you help me expedite this claim so I can start utilizing this new device that I just purchased? And someone actually responded. I couldn't believe it. It was actually a human responding. You could tell it was an automated response based off the intuition that they were having when they were replying. And we were having a back and forth conversation, and they replied almost within 30 seconds of me starting the chat itself. So now I submitted a form through this Oculus Rift support. I heard back within 2 hours. I'm starting this chat. I'm hearing back from them in chat. I submitted my initial appeal from Facebook, and I submitted that form that I showed you just before this. So now I have 3 different touch points of conversations going on between Facebook, and I officially got a serial number over for them towards the Oculus Rift headset. And once I told that guy that in chat, he said, okay, thank you for sending that note. I was able to pull up your previous ticket based on the form that you submitted on our website. I will be sure to update this information, pass it over to them, and we hope to get your account back to you as quickly as possible. And I just asked them, when can I expect to hear back? And they said, we can't guarantee that. Hopefully within a couple of days, but we cannot tell you when you'll hear back. Just know that for now, there's nothing we can do besides wait to hear back from Facebook. Because basically they're passing these notes over to the Facebook community standards section. So now it becomes a waiting game. And now I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's going to be weeks, could be months based on what I was reading on Reddit and other people dealing with this issue. I didn't really know what was going to happen. But literally that same day, about 8 hours later, I checked my email and it said your Facebook account is now activated. You can now use your profile fully. And it was a relief off my shoulders because I knew that at the end of the day, I firmly believe as I make this video, and the reason I'm making this video for you guys is the fact that I think this allowed me to really push over the edge and make that approval happen because it was more touch points to Facebook and it was from a different angle. It was Oculus reaching out and saying, look, we have a new Oculus customer that just paid $400 to use this VR headset and he can't use it. Can you please look into this account more quickly so we can get back to him and let him use his headset? And what happened? I got my account approved. And after that, I just returned this VR headset yesterday, and now I didn't even lose any money on that end. So I wasn't purchasing the VR headset and spending $400 just to get my account back and be out that money. It's pretty sad that you have to go to this extent just to put yourself in a position to get this approval and get your account back. But I wanted to get it back. And I figured this is the best way possible to do it because of the fact that it would expedite the process for me. So that's what I did. Bought the Oculus Rift headset. I showed proof of the purchase. I sent over the serial number. I submitted my appeal. I chatted with them probably 2 separate times that day on Facebook, just checking in with them, showing that I was worried about it. And ultimately, less than 24 hours later, I got an email with approval. They gave me access to my account back, and now I am back fully using my account as normal. So for those of you watching this video right now, remember that at the end of the day, Facebook is one platform that you can use within your matrix of growing your business in terms of the channels that you're using to build your audience itself. But with that said, don't be afraid to use your Facebook profile just because you're worried about these horror stories of Facebook support. One thing I will say is, I hope this message gets to Facebook, and I know there's many other people spreading out a message around this, and the fact that Facebook support is broken. There's no way to get through to people in a fast and efficient way when something like this happens, and it's not fair because there's people like myself and you guys watching this video that really didn't do anything wrong, that you're getting your account taken from you for no reason, and there's no opportunity to get it back because you can't get a hold of them. And you lose access to all of your Facebook posts, you lose access to all of your pictures, you lose access to your entire friends list, and it becomes a very big headache. But there are a few ways you can get around it if that instance happens to you. So keep this in mind if this ever happens to you where you lose access to your profile. Number 1, start with following the steps that they assign you with that first submission. Number 2, I recommend going and trying to look for a form like that one that I showed you where you're able to submit your name, your info, a brief description on what happened, and go above and beyond and attach a picture of your ID and your face. And lastly, if you really want to put yourself in a position to get seen and heard, you could try doing something like I did here, where I actually went out and purchased an Oculus device through Facebook so I could use that as another touch point to get in contact with them and get my message heard. So these are the steps that I took to successfully regain access to my Facebook account within just over 24 hours after getting it suspended. Now, these may not be guaranteed to work for you, but these are some steps that I think can help you put you in a position to hopefully getting your account back if it is locked out. But remember, if your account's active now, make sure that you're taking the time to plan ahead and do the things needed so if this does happen, you don't lose everything. i.e., like I talked about first, adding admins to your Facebook groups if you have any. And if you don't have a Facebook group, I strongly encourage you start to build one. Number 2, there is a section on Facebook support or Facebook settings. I can double check here to make sure where it's at. But if you go to Facebook settings, there's a way you can go to security and you can add in trusted friends on Facebook. Now, for some reason, it's not showing the option for me to do this now that my account was locked. But it is an option out there for you to add a trusted friend on your Facebook account. So if your account was locked, if your account was hacked, basically what you can do is generate a link to send your friend for them to help you regain access to your account. This is something that I strongly encourage you look into doing, because if it does let you do this, then you now have separate touch points for people that can try to regain access to your account if this does happen. So I hope those of you watching this video found this helpful. If you got value from this video, be sure to smash the thumbs up button, click subscribe below so you're not missing out on any more value or any more videos that I'm dropping here on this channel going forward. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. All the links that I talked about in today's video will be dropped below the video itself. And with that said, I will see you on the next video.